Hey guys, you miss me? So when they banned TikTok, no one told me they was gonna ban CapCut. Now for those of you who don't know, but for those of you who do know, for everyone, this is kind of how I edit my videos. So big shout out to CapCut for making this happen. It's not sponsored, by the way. But long story short, my Lord and Savior Donald Trump, no I'm playing. Donald Trump came and he decided to get it unbanned. So back to the regularly scheduled program. Speaking of Donald Trump, this video is actually going to be about him being in office. And so let's start the video. Well. Looks like Trump is back in the Oval Office. The man has more comebacks than a reality TV star. Oh wait, he is one. But this isn't just the season finale of The Apprentice, White House edition. This is real life. So what does his presidency mean for the low and middle class? Grab your snacks and let's break it all down. Policies, promises, and yes, a few eyebrow-raising tweets. Alright, so let's get one thing straight. When politicians talk about the economy, they often focus on Wall Street, big business, and the stock market. But for most Americans, it's Main Street that matters, the local business, and the hardworking people who make up the low and middle class. The low class. These are families earning just enough to scrape by, or sometimes not even that. They often rely on social safety nets like Medicaid, SNAP, food stamps, and housing assistance. The low class includes minimum wage workers, part-time employees, and others juggling multiple jobs to keep the lights on. For them, one unexpected bill, like a car repair or a medical expense, can be a financial catastrophe. The middle class is often described as the backbone of America, but these families are far from immune to financial struggles. They're the teachers, nurses, and small business owners and office workers who earn enough to live comfortably until inflation, rising healthcare costs, or stagnant is what I was trying to say. Stagnant wages start eroding their business power. The middle class is often shrinking. Over the past few decades, the gap between rich and poor has widened, leaving many middle-class families feeling more like they're on the edge of a financial stability rather than firmly in the middle. Now let's talk about Trump's approach to the economy. His philosophy is often rooted in what's called trickle-down economics. This theory suggests that giving tax breaks and incentives to big business and wealthy individuals will lead to economic growth, creating jobs and opportunities for everyone else. But here's the thing. Does it actually work for the low and middle class? The Tax Cuts and Job Act Redux. One of Trump's biggest legislative wins during his first term was the Tax Cuts and the Job Act of 2017. Here's what it did. Number one, corporate tax rates were slashed from 35% to 21%. The idea was that companies would use this money to invest in their businesses, create jobs, and raise wages. Number two, individual tax cuts. Most Americans saw some tax relief, but the benefits were uneven. Benefits with the S. Jesus, can you not read a script? Low-income families saw small reductions while wealthier individuals enjoyed larger cuts. Number three, temporary versus permanent cuts. The corporate tax cuts were permanent. Individual tax cuts, temporary. That's right, some middle-class families might see their taxes go up again. For the low and middle class, the reality was a mixed bag. While the stock market soared, wages didn't rise as fast as many would hope. Small businesses were a focal point of Trump's first presidency. His administration argued that deregulation and tax cuts would help small businesses thrive. But here's where it gets tricky. Deregulation. While fewer regulations can make it easier for businesses to operate, they also benefit large corporations more than mom and pop shops. Competition. Big businesses often have the resources to outcompete smaller ones, even when they're playing by the same rules. Imagine running a local bookstore and suddenly Amazon gets a massive tax break. Who do you think wins in that scenario? Healthcare is one of the most important issues for the low and middle class. It's also one of the most controversial. During his first term, Trump repeatedly tried to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, ACA, also known as Obamacare. I said Obamacare. The ACA expanded Medicaid in many states, allowing millions of low-income families to gain access to healthcare. Trump's efforts to repeal the ACA could have rolled back Medicaid expansion, leaving many families without coverage. Rising costs for the middle class. Even with the ACA, healthcare costs remain high for many middle-class families. Under Trump's administration, there was a focus on freedom of choice in healthcare. But for many families, that choice boiled down to either you're gonna pay for insurance and face sky-high premiums, or you can skip insurance and risk financial ruin in case of emergency. Trump's promise to replace the ACA with something better never fully materialized. If he revisits the healthcare reform, the stakes will be just as high. At the end of the day, Trump's presidency will bring opportunities and challenges for the low and middle class. Whether you see his policies as a blessing or a burden, it all depends on where you stand financially, socially, and politically. Whether you're cheering for his return, dreading it, or just confused by it all, one thing is certain: Trump's presidency will shape the lives of millions of Americans. For the low and middle class, the stakes are high, and the future is anything but predictable. Buckle up, America. It's going to be an unforgettable 4 years.
Tell me something, do we have a problem? I put you in a box and ship your body to Nevada. I really didn't want to hurt the child, but I gotta. You've been a bad kid, cause I've been a bad father. It's all good, I'ma get everything in order. I got a disorder, I can stop making hits out of border. I pull up and slaughter all my opponents.